Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Cars and Coffee with me, Kenny Brown. And if you're a car guy that wants to know more, learn more about performance in your car, you are in the right place. Because over the next hour, I'm going to share with you some of my experience. I've gained over 40 plus years in professional motorsports and building really cool cars. And also answering your questions and talking a little tech. And on today's schedule, oh, by the way, this is episode 30. I just can't believe we're all the way up to episode 30. It doesn't seem that long ago where I just sat down in front of a phone and answered a few questions for some people. Certainly, we've grown a little bit. And if you're just joining us for the first time, welcome. Glad you could be with us. And it's worth, while you're here, it's worth joining the Speed Therapy Society. It's a great group of like-minded car people. And I strongly recommend it. Plus, there's a whole section, resource section, that has a lot of good information. So today what we're going to talk about is, these all come from, basically the questions come from the Speed Therapy Society. And because I try to talk about what you want to learn about. And today what we're going to talk about on the tech side is the value of adding chassis support. I think there was some chatter. Somebody didn't understand why you needed chassis support. The benefits of adding caster. And we've got that also addresses a couple of questions we have. And for the show and tell, our caster plates, which are caster plus for SN95 and Fox, which again addresses the caster situation. And then of course, I'll take your questions live. If you got any questions, just go ahead and send them in. And I'll try to, if we have time, I'll try to answer, if I can, your questions live here on Saturday morning Cars and Coffee. Okay, so where should we start today? Oh, yeah, I forgot. Everybody knows Carrie gives me a little list to read from because I couldn't remember all this on my own. The big news is, by popular demand, so to speak, I'm doing a platform-specific workshop on Cobra/IRS, which is for 99 to 04 Cobras plus SN95 GTs that are converted to IRS. Plus, we have a whole new group of guys that are converting Fox Mustangs to IRS, which is really very cool. And I'm going to do this workshop. Basically, it's going to be, I built, starting back in 2001, I built some absolutely amazing Cobra and GT with IRS track cars, for the CSR series. And I'm going to go through in the workshop and talk about how I created these cars, the philosophy behind it, the things you need to do, and if you want to create one of these really cool cars yourself, the steps you need to take. So it is going to be IRS specific because if you don't know it, we are the IRS guys in the aftermarket for 99 to 04 Cobras. I've got vast amount of experience in IRS cars way before 99 when the Mustang came out, all the way back to the 70s. Where I was doing like open wheel SCCA cars, Formula Fords, Formula Atlantics, and also back then the Triumphs, TR6s, Spitfires all had IRS. So it's something I was really familiar with when the IRS first came out in 99. And we've just, we've stuck with it. We still support 99 to 04 Cobras with chassis and suspension pieces. So that's going to be Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern time, this Wednesday the 14th. And to get into the workshop, you need to register. The reason you need to register because I decided to do this in a little different format than Cars and Coffee. I'm going to use the same format that I use for the Speed Therapy Academy. And excuse me, this is like hay fever season. And you should heard me about an hour and a half ago. I couldn't hardly breathe. Anyway, we're going to do this kind of like I do the Speed Therapy Academy. It's going to be in Zoom. Which is a different platform than what we're using right now. But to get the Zoom link, you have to register, and then you'll get a Zoom link just before the workshop. So that's coming up. I'm pretty excited about it, and I know we got a whole lot of positive comments about that. Going down my list. Oh, my toolbox. If you're new and haven't been with us before, let's kind of see this. Let me get out of the way. This kind of like crusty old toolbox. That's my toolbox. It's been with me for over 4 years. And between that toolbox and myself, we have been to every major racetrack in North America and into Canada. So it's got history. I just can't get rid of it. It's just been with me so long. It's kind of like part of me. And I still use it every day. So that's kind of what makes me a little bit different than a lot of people in the aftermarket. Is I actually made my living out of that toolbox all the way up through the, I say, late 90s, when I just couldn't do work on the cars and run business. So I kind of had to go back and forth. But it's like I say, that's where I got my education. Okay, I'm going down my list that Carrie gave me. She's laughing at me. And we start going down. We started Cars and Coffee because so many people just kept asking me. They said, "Boy, if I could just get into your brain for a little bit." So that's what we're doing. I mean, I'm just kind of popping open my brain. It's got a lot of information in there, and I'm more than willing to share. They say you can't take it with you, so I'm putting as much information out as I can, because if I can help you not to make a mistake that costs money or time or even a car, then that's a big value for me. So let's see, getting through page 1 on to page 2. Here this is stuff I always forget. If you're watching us on Facebook, be sure to give us a little thumbs up. And if you haven't been here before, we had some wrenches that were supposed to float up, but somehow they got overheated and they melted and they look like little hearts. So just pretend those are wrenches, but give us some thumbs up. That's really great to have, because it helps us spread the word and it makes me feel good.
Look at the screen. You see the comments?
Yeah, but I can't. I mean, I'm not.
It says give Kenny some thumbs up from wrenches. I'm going to help you out.
Oh, Carrie's helping me out. Because things come up, but I'm not quite good enough to keep talking to you and read and understand everything. So anyway, now I've lost track of what I was doing again. Okay, and Facebook, we're Facebook Live, and not Facebook Live, YouTube Live. And this is episode 30. And if you like this and want to go back and see other episodes, they're all on there on Kenny Brown TV on YouTube. Please enjoy. I mean, there's a lot of good information there. People tell me there's information they're getting there that they can't get anyplace else, and I would have to agree with them. And each week I try to cover a few different segments. I told you what we're going to do this week, and I'm down halfway through the second page, Gary. I'm on schedule. Artwork. This month's artwork. As you know, I've got a pretty cool collection of automotive artwork, and I try to feature something every month. And this is another piece from Nicholas Watts. I've got quite a few of his pieces. Let me turn this over there like that. Just man, I'm my own cameraman if you haven't figured that out. This is Nicholas Watts, and it's called the Formation Finish. And this is the GT40s finishing at Le Mans in 1966. And it's kind of a cool picture. I like it. Nicholas Watts has quite a few of the of Le Mans, and this is another one of my favorites. In fact, they're all my favorites. But that's the artwork for this month. Formation Finish at Le Mans 1966. Okay, back to Cars and Coffee. Okay, what we're going to talk about today, and it's not going to be as normal, where we do like one thing after another, because the questions are wrapping into what I'm going to talk about. And for that, I'm going to start with the questions. Okay. Okay. We had some kind of people say didn't understand why they needed chassis support. And, why do you need chassis support heavily with the Fox and SN95s? It's primarily because they are unibody platforms, which means there's no frame. There's a whole bunch of stamped steel pieces that are welded together. And they're good for production cars, but when you really start leaning on them, like the Foxes are almost like a tin can. You can almost twist them. And we started doing chassis support obviously in '86 with the Celine endurance cars, and then '87. But after that, when Mustang started showing up, a we started with, because I knew that the Fox was just really flimsy. And we even had people back then that would bring their cars in, and the floor was split right behind the driver's seat, like a great big split right through the floor, like somebody took a giant knife and smashed it. That's how much flex there is in the cars. So we wanted to address that. And, one of the first things that we did was something we carried over from the race cars. Because we were doing endurance racing, you got to jack the car up a whole bunch and change tires and brakes and all things like that, but every 40 minutes or so. So what we did is we put jacking rails along the pinch weld on the 86 cars. And the SCCA thought that was like, that's a chassis device. It really wasn't, but I had to like hacksaw some little notches in it so it wouldn't be a continual piece. And go figure. In 87, they didn't bother us at all. But anyway, we carried that over to the aftermarket because, especially when your car's lowered, it's such a pain to kind of crawl down, stick the jack under there, and make sure you get the right spot. And all of a sudden you slip and you're jacking the floor up. I'm sure a few of you experienced that. So jacking rails was one of the first things we did. And so I can get this all folded over. And this was the jacking rail we've got. I can't go any further. This is for the Fox, the S197, and believe it or not, Gen 1 Mustangs. This fits all three of those cars. And it just stitch welds right underneath the pinch weld. So you can put the jack anywhere along here. And then when you have the car up in the air, put the jack stands under the end. So it's the jack stands are completely out of the way. And somebody asked a question that, where you know to jack up the car? Well, I've got a real simple solution. You need to kind of experiment a little bit, get somewhere in the middle and kind of jack the car up in a couple of different spots until you jack it up. Both wheels come off at the same time. That's kind of like the middle point. We take just a little piece of tape or something just to right along the rocker panel, just to indicate where that jacking point is. And to make it even easier, once we find that jacking point, slide the jack under, and just jack it up enough to hit the jacking rail, then we'll look straight down from the rocker panel, put a piece of tape right across the jack. So, I mean, that's how we made really quick pit stops. We knew where to put the jack and where to put it and how far in, and makes it really easy. So that's one part of chassis support. Now, sort of like the main piece in Fox SN95 is our double cross subframe connectors. Now, we have a subframe connector that connects the front and back subframes. And what I've done is I put this cross piece in there, which actually bolts to the base of the driver's seat and passenger seat. And by bolting in the middle, it does a couple things. One, it reduces the free span versus captured length, which makes them stiffer. And plus, it just takes any ability for the car to twist out. We were the first people to come to market with that a long time ago. Now you see a lot of people have copied it. In fact, a lot of the stuff we do gets copied. Someday I'll do a whole segment on how much stuff we've been first to market with. So the subframe connector was next, and that makes a huge difference. And then the third piece, which is unique to us, nobody else does this, is our matrix brace. Sort of buried it back here. Oh, I got some other jacking rails to show you. This is a jacking rail for S197, and it's a little different. And also we had to put these holes in it just so you can weld it flat to the pinch weld, because there's little buttons in there. It's a little bit shorter. This is exclusive to the S197. And then just recently, we have come out with a really unique jacking rail for 550 cars. One of the problems that I had with the 550 cars is there's no real place to kind of really weld across for the pinch weld for a jacking rail, but there are two flat points in the bottom of the pan that actually have bolts already there, which makes it a natural for bolting on. The only problem is they are at a 5-degree angle to the ground, which means if you use like a traditional jacking rail like we have, it's going to be tilted 5 degrees, and it's not going to be flush across the bottom. And a lot of people, I've seen other jacking rails out there that people either twist them or just put them on that way. And I didn't like that idea. So we actually went to work And we have a fabricated jacking rail, not a tube, but a fabricated jacking rail. And crunch. That's kind of what it looks like. But what's really unique about it, let's see if I can swing it over here without hit myself. Can you see that? It's not a triangle. It's got that 5-degree kick into it, so that it's really hard. So that when it's flush to the ground, we have 5-degree offset, so it bolts up onto the onto the car, which it took a little bit for us to work that out, but I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's pretty cool. It's like everything else, we're known for innovation, so this is kind of a big innovation in jacking rails for F550 cars. And here's just a short little segment that you can see. It doesn't even show very well. There we go. You can see the angle of it. So that's something we're kind of happy with. And where our left off is, so we got our subframe connectors. This is Fox SN95 because their chassis are really, really flimsy. That's the only way to put it. I mean, you can take the Fox and jack one front wheel up, and that's the only thing that's going to come off the ground because the car will twist so much. So we came up with the subframe connector and the jacking rail, and what we did is I tied them together with a matrix brace. And we had a question on why I use triangles in our matrix brace when other people don't. Well, it's really basic engineering. In engineering, the triangle is the absolute stiffest formation that you can make. So what we do is by doing the matrix break this way. Okay, so we got the subframe here, jacking rail there. We've got one full triangulation there. Okay, but then you look down here, and here's the subframe. We got another triangulation there, so that's 2. We move down here. See, I've got enough room. And the same thing. Jacking rail across here. That's another triangulation. Subframe across here, another triangulation. That's 4 full triangulations under each side of the car, which does a tremendous job of stiffening up the chassis. Now, some people say, well, if you stiffen the chassis, the rides get stiffened. Absolutely 100% the opposite. Putting the system here, the matrix system, actually improves ride quality. It improves handling and improves ride quality. And we've had people that we've installed like a matrix system to that don't get half a mile away, and they call up and say, this is a different car. Because what we've done, we've taken that twist out. Now, the thing about the twist in the early platforms is it becomes a 5th suspension member that's uncontrolled. Now, you've got front suspension, rear suspension that's controlled by springs and shocks. So all of a sudden, you've got this 5th suspension member that is twisting with the car. It takes power to twist. It takes energy to twist it. And that's energy and power that should be going into the ground. So by taking the twist out, first of all, ride quality is improved dramatically because all of a sudden the chassis is not moving. It also takes a lot of squeaks and rattles out, but it's just absolutely recommend that for anybody that's got a Fox SN95. Now, somebody also asked that on the S197s, why there's only 2 pieces instead of 3. Well, the answer is pretty simple. If you crawl underneath, you're going to see this great big frame that goes from front to back. So they actually Ford put subframe connectors, so to speak, right in the car for us. So all we have to do is put the jacking rail on and then connect the matrix to the frame that goes through there, and it's the same as any other car. Boom, we're done. So that's kind of like the whole thing behind chassis support. It's really, really important. Car chassis support. Now we also had strut tower braces. We haven't brought them all back into production yet from before. We do have them for the 0304 Cobras. We've got more that are lined up to be produced over the next year. But the other thing that we do, because we convert most of our cars to coilovers in the back, just because it's so much easier to control ride height and spring rate. And we have a rear shock tower brace that we strongly recommend that goes with the coilover package, but you don't have to have coilovers to put the rear shock tower brace in. So that's kind of like the quick overview of chassis support. And She's handing this back to me. Oh, and she's holding up label. Yeah, to know that you've got a genuine Kenny Brown chassis piece and not a ripoff or a copy. Every product we do is serialized, and so if you're looking for stuff and you're not sure if it's ours or not, if it's got a serial number, a serial tag, it's ours. Chassis support, suspension pieces, everything we do is serialized. And the reason we did that was a long time ago. We were getting copied so much that we had to come up with a way to differentiate genuine Kenny Brown products from all the copies. So we just start serializing pieces. So every single piece we sell will have a serial tag on it, and they're registered in our books, so we know when they were built. So we kind of got through chassis support. Next on the list, let's see. Oh, here's some good ones. I got the S197, why the matrix is triangulated, where to place the jack. There was some discussion about seam welding in the society, and there's a lot of philosophies on seam welding. If you seam weld every seam in the car, you pick up a lot of weight. I mean, a lot of weight, because you're adding steel. I have kind of a different philosophy than some people. The way I look at it, if you're building a race car, you've got a cage. And if this cage is designed correctly, that's rigid. I mean, that's rigid as it can be. If I do seam welding on a race car, for the most part, it's going to be from the firewall forward, because you don't have as much frame and as much cage up above in front of the firewall. So I'll do some not continue welding, just stitch welding every couple inches, because A, you don't want to add too much weight. B, you don't want to add too much heat. So that's the way I look at it. And some cars, I may do a little bit in the back around suspension pickup points. But I just, seam welding an entire car for like club racing is, you can do it if you want. I just think it's a lot of energy that you don't need to spend, and a lot of weight that you add to the car. So that's my philosophy. I'll do a little bit in the back. If there's something that looks obvious, like the welds aren't that good, we'll do that, but mostly focus on firewall forward for seam welding. Okay, well, I'm just clicking right through this stuff today. Now we're getting into, okay, this is from Michael. Since F550 has about 7 degrees of caster built in, is more recommended for autocross/street car. Most available plates are camber only. Well, ours aren't. We have camber and caster adjustment. And, the way I look at caster on a Mustang, you put every bit of caster you can get into it. It only does good things. And the second part, he says, I heard from some competitive Solo 2 racers that too much caster results in cross weights, car balance actually changing while negotiating corners. Okay, it's like, what kind of cars are they running? Number one. And secondly, I've never really heard that. As far as I'm concerned, I want every bit of caster in their take for a number of reasons. First of all, high-speed stability. The more caster it's in there, the straighter, truer, and better it feels at high speed down the straightaway. Secondly, what adding caster does is it increases camber gain in turns. So what do I mean by that? Well, as you turn the wheel with a lot of caster, the outside tire, will start to gain negative camber. The inside tire will gain positive camber. So as you go through a corner, your tire's going like this, which only makes sense to get more camber on the outside and less negative or positive camber on the inside. So that's what that's one of the advantages of caster. The other is it actually helps in anodive a little bit. The guys that are in our Speed Therapy Academy know what I'm talking about, because we went through the whole geometry, the front of my front grip kit for S197s, and how that all the things that caster impacts in a good way. So it's the more caster the better. I just run every bit there is. Like I say, S197 and 550 cars, we have caster and camber adjustment. But for Fox SN95, I took a little bit different approach. Because we were using caster camber plates. All I ever did was put in maximum caster. So I started thinking about it, and what I ended up doing is creating a product called Caster Plus. Now, what it is, it's a camber plate, and the only adjustment is camber. The reason for that is we move the top of the strut back as far as it will go. And by not having it caster adjustable, but having the caster fixed, we pick up in some cars more than a half a degree of caster. So, having it fixed, that's one less thing to adjust. Plus, we're picking up more caster with Caster Plus. And so the only thing we have left to adjust is the camber. Now, I've got kind of a cool little trick for people that do track days, street driving, and drive to the track. What I recommend is, see if you can see this, is you go to your alignment shop and you get your, you get your car aligned, and you make a little mark where the bolts are on your camber plate or the strut tower, anywhere you can see that you can line up those bolts. When you go to the track, you just drop them down, you put all the camber in, it'll take. And from there, then you just kind of work backwards based off your tire temperatures to get the right camber you need for that track in that day. And then when you're all done, you just loosen it up and put it right back and line the marks up, and boom, you're right back to a street alignment and don't even have to do anything. Don't have to go to the alignment shop. So that's kind of a little trick that I tell everybody to do. It just makes life so much easier. Okay, now array. As if 2.5 degrees negative is too aggressive for the street. Simple answer, yes. Street driving, you should be around a degree negative, no more than 1.25 degrees. But he says that I'm wearing the outer edge of my tires in autocross, and I'm at -2 degrees right now. Okay, a couple of things. I mean, if you can go to -2.5, try that, number one. Secondly, if you're at max caster or max camber and you're chewing up the outside of the tires, here's why that's happening. The Mustang has what's called, the Friction strut has what's called a positive roll suspension. What I mean by that is as the car rolls, the camber on the tire goes positive, which is not a good thing, which is why we start out with negative camber. So as it rolls and it goes positive, and we got all the tire on the ground. Now, if you got all the tire on there and you're wearing at the outside edge, the thing that I would look at is spring rate, because the car is rolling too much. You need to put more spring in the car so the car doesn't roll as much, so that actually it'll handle better. The more spring you put in the Mustang, the better they handle anyway. So if you've got all the negative camber there is, and you're still tearing up the outside of the tire, then you need to look at spring rate. And if you have any questions about that, get a hold of Kerry or Rich. Set up one of my 15-minute consults, and I'll talk you through that and see if I can come up with a solution. But if you've got all the camber it'll take, and you're still chewing up the outside, it's not enough spring rate. And if you run 2.5 degrees negative on the street, then you're going to chew up the inside of the tires. So there's kind of like a balance to get to. And then again, the old trick on the camber adjustment, just, you have to work with it. If you get more spring rate, you might not need as much camber, or you get a little more spring rate, and then the 2 degrees camber works just fine. So that's the thing. If it's do it, you got not enough spring rate, the cars are rolling too much. You have to control that. So that takes care of array. Oh, and Steve wanted to know if positive caster also helps turn in response. Absolutely. And in a couple of different ways. One, like I said before, you're getting negative camber gain with more caster. And again, like there's a relationship between caster and anti-dive in the front. And I won't go into that now because that's something we talk about in the geometry class in the Speed Therapy Academy. But I'll just tell you, it does have an impact on anti-dive. And anti-dive not only helps in braking, but it helps in turning. That's why in the Y97 cars with the front grip kit, that's why they turn like on a dime. They're really crisp because I've got anti-dive, I've got the roll center up, I got camber gain. And also on the S197, on the front grip kits, I actually move the ball joint forward to get even more caster. So you can tell I'm in love with caster on Mustangs. So like I say, you can't run too much caster, and if it's not even side to side, really don't worry about it. I don't think it's going to make a difference. So there we go, caster, camber, too much caster, preset caster. Oh, there was also some questions about alignment specs and toe. If you go in the Speed Therapy Society, in the it's called the resource, Carrie?
Yeah, it's under the unit section, but it's our resource guide.
Under the unit section, it's a resource guide, and you're going to find a sheet I put together as basic alignment specs for all the platforms. And certainly, I mean, that's a starting point. Every car is different, so you want to work, but that's a place to start.
So performance alignment specs.
Performance alignment specs. Okay, I've been corrected. And there was a question about toe. All I run the front of a Mustang is toe in or toe out. Not a lot, but just a little, like a 1/16 of an inch total toe out. And what toe out does is it actually, again, helps turn in. One of the problems of a Mustang with stock suspension and stock springs and shocks is the really fast and straight line, but stopping and turning is kind of like their weak point. That's why I re-engineered the whole suspension just to get away with that. So my cars brake late and they just turn crisp. I think Wendy sent in a note a couple weeks ago. She said that when she turns the wheel, it's like the car pivots. And that's what I want. I want to get that turn in and rotate really fast. So a caster is a good part of that. Caster and anodive. Okay, carries up with a note. Okay. I just chuckle at this. You took it away too soon. It's just, yeah, if you're just joining us, I'm Kenny Brown. This is Cars and Coffee, where I'm trying to share with you some extensive experience, background, and knowledge in professional motorsports and building really great street cars and track cars and championship winning race cars. So I've got through that part. I think I almost got through most of it. Let's see, what did I miss? By golly, Carrie, I think I got through just about everything.
Talk about the workshop again.
Okay, she said, talk about the workshop again.
Ask the question.
Oh, questions. Send in some questions. Obviously, we're going to have a little bit of time to answer questions, so please send in some questions, and I'll try to do it live. I'm just going back over my notes and make sure I didn't miss something. But I must have been talking too fast this week. Speed Therapy Society, join the Speed Therapy Society, the artwork, thumbs up and heart-shaped wrenches, and also on YouTube, if you can sign up for the channel on YouTube, and there's a little bell, hit the bell, and that way you'll get notifications when we're going to do something live. And I'm going to repeat that this Wednesday is a platform-specific workshop, sort of by popular demand. I have a lot of people asking about this, and it's for Cobras, 99-04 Cobras of IRS, but it also is for anybody that's converted, like a SN95 GT to IRS, or people that have converted or are thinking about converting a Fox to IRS. I think that's kind of like a really big group that's starting to happen now is IRS and Fox cars, and I think that'd be just amazing because they're nice and light. I just think that'd be a really cool setup because I know in ENCORE, my 2001 GT that we basically turned into a Cobra with IRS. I mean, that car was a dream to drive on track. I mean, I could put it anywhere. I could drive it all day and not get tired. So I love the IRS in these Mustangs. And like I say, I'm going to say we're authoritarians for lack of a better reason, just simply because I have so much experience with them. And we are still supporting 99-04 Cobras with suspension and chassis pieces. And anybody else that's doing an IRS. I mean, we've even set IRS up for somebody who was putting one in an old Fairlane. So, I mean, it's just not, IRS isn't exclusive for just 99-04 Cobras. I mean, it can go a lot of different places. So this is going to be a good workshop because we're going to go through how I built a car like Kermie, or we had on there for a long time the CSROT, which was a 2003 Cobra. Just how I build my cars and why and all the philosophy behind it, and how you can build one yourself to make an exceptionally well handling car. And Carrie is here with a computer, which means I've got a question or she wants to tell me something.
Are you through your?
I think I'm through everything. I don't think I missed anything.
Okay. If you want to ask some questions, just put them in the comments right now, and Kenny will answer them. We have a couple of questions, Kenny. Let's see. This is from Brad Grissom. What about roll bars and cage design and the essentials? Going back to chassis support.
Roll bars and cage designs. Okay. But roll bar, I'm guessing he's meant like a 4-point or 6-point roll bar. And anytime you can add structure to a car, you're going to improve chassis stiffness. Now, on the 550 cars, we get a really nice 4-point bolt-in from a different manufacturer. That's a really nice product, which is why we haven't taking the time to produce one ourselves, because we can get it, and it's a really good product. We used to have for the Fox and S197 street cages. We haven't brought them back into production yet, but they will be maybe a year off. But what I did with those is it looks like a 6-point, but it's actually an 8-point on our street cages, because we had the main hoop, which bolts to the floor. We had the bars running back, which bolts to the rear wheels. And then we also had a low bar that ran up forward from the main hoop along the real low and bolted into the floor up by your feet, which would add additional chassis support in the middle. But to make it even stronger, we actually had the main hoop bolt into the seat belt point on the B pillar, which just makes it super extra strong. So adding a roll bar really, it does improve chassis support. And a cage, if you've got a well-designed cage, the car's gonna be pretty rigid. If you've ever in the Speed Therapy Academy, we went through a bunch of like race car cage designs, and you take the skin off some of these race cars, and all it is tubes and triangles. Get that? Tubes and triangles, lots and lots of triangles, to make those chassis as stiff as possible, because they don't want anything to interfere with the suspension. They want the suspension to work by itself. So,
okay, I have a couple of comments. But first, I want to tell you a couple of our long-term people that are here every week that I see that have made comments. So if you're here and you haven't made a comment, I can't see your name. But Andrew Fox is always here. Dave Robinson always shows up from, today it's sunny Niagara.
Niagara.
On the Canada side. We also have Brad Grissom. Dell Hughes is always here too. He's from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. I'm not sure if it's cloudy or sunny there, Dale. We also have Fred Francher. He is always here. I don't think he's missed an episode, nor all these people. I think they're here every week. Brian West is always here. And Brian is in our academy.
Yeah, Brian's in the academy.
The other name of somebody I see is Mike Charles is here.
Yeah.
Is that called?
Yeah, Mike is our Celine guy. Mike is really dedicated to the Celine dynasty or legacy, however you want to put it. He managed over the years to purchase both of the 86 Celine R race cars that I built in 86, one of which won the 24 Hours of Canada. It was actually the backup car won the 24 Hours of Canada in the GT class, because primary car got crashed about 4 a.m. and it was unrepairable. So the second car was actually, I think, either 3rd or 4th place, and Desiree and Lisa were driving that car, and it was actually wounded. We could only do not even quite 30 minutes on a tank of gas. We worked through strategy and driver changes, and we actually got it to the front and won the race, which was a big deal. Anyway, he's got both of those cars. And when we first got him, he brought them by. It was really heartwarming to see those cars again. And then he also has come up. He also scored the sort of like the body in yellow, let's call it, the yellow and white, of the number 9 87 Celine car. And the 87 cars, as some of you may know, is we sort of dominated it was Escort Endurance Series, Pro Endurance Series back then. It evolved into World Challenge today, but that was all endurance races. I mean, I think the shortest race we did was 6 hours. There's some 24-hour races, 12-hour races. But anyway, we with the Celine cars, we just made a clean sweep in '87. Driver Championship, Manufacturers Cup, Tire Manufacturer Championship, and Team Championship. So we just killed it. It wasn't easy. We really worked tough. In fact, I went from the pretty much beginning of April, end of March, through Halloween, which is, October 31st. That was the last race at Sebring, a 12-hour race. And I only had one day off. The rest of it's like, a 14-hour day would be considered a short day. But man, if you want to win championships, I mean, it takes more than a total commitment. And we were committed. I knew we had the stuff to do that. Win a championship. Winning all four was just kind of like just a big bonus for me. But anyway, he's got the number 9 car, and he's putting that back together. And I got a big bonus for him. We were cleaning out one of our storage units, and I found 10 of the Ronell 3-piece 4-lug wheels from the '86 Celine cars. So he's going to be able to put the actual wheels on those cars that they had when we raced in '86. So that's kind of cool.
That's really cool. That is awesome. Okay, we have Ernie Abercrombie. Ernie, it's great to see you. We haven't heard from you for a while. So call me sometime. Ernie has a question. How do you raise your ride height with H&R coilovers toward the top? It says toward the top lowers or raises ride height. Does that make sense? Let me read it again. I don't think I read it well. How do you raise your ride height with H&R coilovers? Toward the top lowers or raises ride height?
Ride height's pretty easy. It's adjustable. On the shocks are threaded on the front. So all you have to do is turn the spring perch up or down to adjust ride height. In the back, there's an adjuster. It's a spring on axle, and there's an adjuster on the axle. All you have to do is adjust that up or down to get the ride height. And a lot of people ask me about what's the ride height to set on a car. A good rule of thumb is ride height has a lot to do with all my suspensions are engineered around an inch and a half lower, the car being lower an inch and a half for the geometry. But looking at the ride height is like if you can put 2 fingers between the top of the tire and the fender, that should be pretty close. And a lot of the tires we run are like 26-inch diameter, which means we're running if 26 and a half, then we're running 27 to 27 and a half, somewhere in there ride height, just depending on the car and the tires. So the rule of thumb is you just you can look up the diameter of your tires, and you want to add at least an inch or so. And if you can get 2 fingers between the tire and the fender lip, that should be right. And then you just stand back and look at it. That's how I adjust ride height. I set it up kind of like that, and I'll stand back and look at it and go, okay, do I like that? No, I think let's put that up a little bit and put that down a little bit. So that's kind of my scientific method of adjusting ride height.
Okay, Brian West has a comment related back to caster. On a question of too much caster for autocross, is it possible because so much lock is used due to the tight corners?
I don't know if I have a good answer for that. He says if too much caster, if there's too much lock. Man, I mean, I don't know. I haven't done autocrossing in maybe 50 years.
You probably need to go so you can offer some.
But I mean, I just want caster. I mean, I want that camber game. I mean, if you're turning it like lock, then the caster is going to give you just maximum camber gain, negative camber gain, which to me, that's what makes the car go around the corner. So I just don't know. I don't have a good answer because, I didn't know that people actually turn full lock on autocross. I know in some cars like the GT500s, that'd be tough because they got rack limiters, so the tires don't rub. So I don't know. I don't have a good answer. I will tell you, I just like tons and tons of caster.
Okay. Ernie has another question related to the same H&R question. So if you thread it down to the middle, it should raise the ride height.
No. This is down is down and up is up. So if you thread the adjuster down, you're going to lower the car. If you thread the adjuster up, you're going to raise the car. So down is down and up is up.
And he says this is for street driving, not the track.
For street driving, I mean, yeah, you get the ride height I talked about. You know, like street driving and track driving, the ride height's about the same. Although if you live in an area with a lot of bumps and undulations, you might want to add just a little bit to the ride height. But no, you just crank them up to go up and crank them down to go down.
Ernie's in the Detroit area.
Oh, you're in Detroit area. Yeah, you got wonderful streets up there. Yeah, I know. I used to be in Detroit. Like, this is like before my health stuff. I was in Detroit like all the time. It seems like either in Dearborn or Livonia or Troy. Those seemed to be the three places I was in the most.
The roads were crappy.
And the roads are crappy.
So Tony Cavalerio, Tony, I butchered your name. So anyway, Tony has a question. I switched my 03 Cobra to live axle for drag racing. I've been thinking about building it into an open track car. Think it's a good platform, or should I use an S550?
I think it just boils down to what you want and what your budget is. I mean, switching it back to an IRS with our suspension pieces, it makes a great track car. The 550s are a wonderful car all on its own. It's kind of like with every new generation of Mustang, we have to do less and less to make it work good. We had to do a ton to the Foxes. We still had to do a ton to the SN95. Then the IRS came out, and that made it really cool. S197s, because it was a stiffer platform and had a real 3-link in the back that I could work with and made geometry easy. And then the fact that the front control arms were parallel to center line, that just made the geometry easy there. So that got better. And the 550 cars are, because they've got an IRS, they're super rigid. You just have to have a rigid car for IRS. And they've got a pretty good suspension. I haven't done any work on the suspension because at this stage, we've got a really good spring and shock package. And, with the Jersey single adjustables, I mean, the car it just turns. It just turns. And then the IRS is pretty good, but I strongly recommend if you have a 550 that you do not turn all the nanny helpers off, because I've seen a lot of 550s that back into the guardrail because they turned all the nannies off, and they didn't have enough muscle memory or driving skill to catch it, and boom, away they go. I've seen it happen more than once. So you turn traction control off, but I think there's 3 stages. The very last one you don't want to turn off in a 550, but they make a pretty good track car. They're really fast. The newer ones, they come with 460 horsepower, the 18 to 20s. So, it's just your choice. The SN95 is lighter, and you can make those really quick. The 550 will probably be faster because it's got a lot more power and it's got a more sophisticated suspension, but just your choice. It depends on your, what you want and what your budget is. You can go either way. Yeah, if you want to set up a 15-minute call with me, just get a hold of Rich or Carrie, and I can kind of talk through with you and maybe help you.
Okay, we have one comment. If anybody has any more questions, this is your last call for questions. Last call for questions. Okay, here we go. Brad has a comment. He said he converted his SN95 live axle car to Kenny Brown complete IRS rear suspension. The IRS Cobra workshop will really help you if you're considering switching to IRS or upgrading your IRS Cobra.
There you go. Yeah, anybody's got the full package on there. We've got a couple of guys in our Speed Therapy Academy that had Cobra 2000 Cobra R's. I don't know if you guys remember the 2000 Cobra R's, pretty cool car. That we completely redid the suspension, and like Joe Johnson said, it was one of the best driving cars he ever had. He sold his and he wished he had it back. But it was kind of odd one. You don't see too many 2000 Cobra R's. At the end of one season, after the last track event at Putnam, we had 5 Cobra R's in the shop, all getting new suspensions. So, I mean, that was
one time. Yeah.
I went at the same time.
Yeah.
Five Cobra R's in the shop at the same time, all getting new suspensions. So that was kind of cool. We got some pictures around somewhere too.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that's it. The workshop is speed. Well, why don't you do the word? I'm kind of flipping over my words here.
You're doing it to me.
Yeah.
I remind you again about the workshop Wednesday evening, 7 o'clock Eastern time. It's going to be a different format. It's going to be in Zoom, just like we do for the Speed Therapy Academy. And to get the link, you have to register. That's why you have to register, so you can get the email. The email link can be sent to you. So click on that and then join the meeting. If you haven't used Zoom or don't know that much about it, call in and we can help you get set up and understand it. It's pretty easy. It's pretty cool.
So in the links, if you can't catch it, it's in the comments. During this session, we're also doing some Facebook ads that will be on the Speed Therapy Society page, the Kenny Brown Performance public page, and also you can find it on kennybrown.com. It's on the homepage, so you can get the link to register. It's well worth the time. It's about a 2-hour session.
I'd say maybe an hour and a half, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, it's even if you don't have an IRS car, I mean, it'd be good to listen because I mean, I've got a specific philosophy on building cars, and anybody that's ever driven one of my cars has been knocked out. I mean, they just drive. It's because I love driving, and I build the car for myself because I just love a good handling driving car. And it seems like what I do is everybody else appreciates. I'm doing a carry. Everybody else appreciates it too because they're just amazing cars to drive. So you can learn a little bit about my car building philosophy. So with no more comments and questions, my asthma and hay fever are starting to catch up with me. I'm really happy I made it through this far. Like I said, if you guys seen me a couple hours ago, it was like I was talking underwater and coughing. So I made a big recovery and just in the nick of time. So we'll see you Wednesday night at the workshop, or we will see you next Saturday morning. And please send in some questions you want answers to, because like I say, I craft what I talk about on Saturdays around what you're interested in learning about. So, I mean, we've covered a lot over the last 30 weeks, but there's still more to cover. So send in what you want to learn about, and I'll see what I can do to answer your questions. So with that, have a good rest of the weekend. I hope it's sunny where you are. It's not sunny here. It's overcast and dismal, but that's okay. It's not freezing. Although if it did freeze, I'd be happy because it'll kill all the pollen. So, but anyway, have a good weekend, everybody, and we'll either see you Wednesday night or